Today we're in Tempe, Arizona, and we're going to show you everything you need to know about Tempe. And don't just think this is a college town. There is so much more than just the college. You got to check it out.
So the first thing about Tempe is literally what Ryan said. It's not just a college town. I mean, it's at one point, sure, it was just predominantly college. And that's where everyone's like, oh, it's party central, right?
Yep.
All the neighborhoods are just loud. Guys, that is not the case anymore. I would say in the last 15, 20 years, it's really developed more into actually families enjoying it. And because actually what you saw, including myself, is I went to ASU, right? So I went to ASU, I graduated, and
I did it well.
Yeah, and I stayed actually in Tempe for a long time.
Yeah.
So I have a heart for Tempe because I'm a Tempe rat. I lived in Tempe for 10 years before getting married, and I absolutely love it. And that tends to be the theme with a lot of people is when they stay here, especially the young professionals, they stay here after graduating and they just love, because it is a vibey city. I mean, it's so much to offer.
And you don't have to be just in the area that's by ASU down here by Mill Avenue. There's a large section of Tempe that is just like single family houses geared towards mostly families, like you said now.
Right.
Very different than being kind of where we are down here in the heart of where ASU is. There's a lot more apartments. There's a lot more going on. There's the airplanes, as you hear. We're right in the flight path of the airport. So you are going to have more vibrance, more noise, more things happening. But that's just one segment of Tempe.
Yeah. And so Tempe is you got South Tempe and North Tempe. That's kind of how Tempe is divided. Now, South Tempe is definitely going to be, as you kind of go towards the east side, you get close to Chandler. Those are going to be your kind of more quieter neighborhoods, right? Out farther from the campus, right? North Tempe is going to be where you're closer to campus, you're close to Mill Avenue, you're closer to a kind of where all the excitement is being built. Now, this is a thing that might surprise you about North Tempe is, yeah, that used to be a place where people are like, I'm getting out of there. It's crazy. Like I said, I don't want to be there.
Right.
It's too much. But actually, families are now starting to stay here. And we'll show you why, because we'll show you some neighborhoods that are beautiful. They're quiet. You would be surprised that you're like a block away from the campus and you're in a neighborhood that's quiet, gorgeous. And I say that because, again, I lived there for so long. I know it. And a lot of people were surprised just how amazing Tempe is. And there's just so much to offer.
So make sure you stick around because we're going to get into the neighborhoods and the different parts of Tempe. But while we're here in like kind of the downtown area, we want to show you what it all has to offer before we move on. And if you're new here, we drop a new video at least once a week. So if you want to be in the know about Phoenix and the surrounding areas like Tempe, and we have other videos coming up if you haven't seen those yet, make sure you subscribe so that you're notified every time we drop a new one and you can figure out which part of Phoenix is going to be best for you and your family.
Yeah, we're dropping those bombs.
Dropping the bombs. And make sure you have your sunglasses when you come out here.
You got to. All right, so you can't talk about Tempe without really talking about Tempe Town Lake. I mean, I remember as a kid, I mean, high school, I was like, oh, that's a spot, right? That's a spot you take your girls. That's a spot you go on dates, right? Even in college. And it was until it became kind of cliche. But it's still, it always has a place in my heart because, I mean, Tempe Town Lake is beautiful. Like what it does is what they did here is they built it up to be just a spot where you can walk your dog, you can go running, you can just go on a stroll, you can take
paddleboarding.
They have paddleboarding, so you can take the paddleboards out on the lake.
Yep.
Me and my wife did that one of our first month or two when we started dating. Told you, a little cliche.
You know what else is fun? The scooters. You rent the electric scooters and you can tool around.
I'm too scared of scooters, but that is a thing. I don't have balance, but yeah, people love the scooters.
I love the scooters.
And they get around, they just zip around. So Tempe Town Lake has so much to offer of just being a place you can take your kids, be active, your pets, whatever the case may be. Now, they did a good job of building a loop that literally goes all the way around. It'll go over to Priest, and then the loop will come all the way down to Rural. There actually might be expanding it past McClintock now. I know that was in the talks.
Yep.
But they're going to take a loop, and then you can come all the way back around. So it makes one giant loop that your boy used to run back in the day when he ran.
But you were a runner.
When I was a runner, not anymore. So that, again, that's part of the coolness about Tempe Town Lake is just they made it to where you can literally do so much, and that loop just kind of adds to the fact. Another thing that's important to know is that the Tempe Center of Arts
Mm,
is a very cool attraction. It was built 10, 15 years ago. I remember when it came in, probably 15, 20 years ago. I'm getting old now, right?
yeah,
And it's a very cool structure that kind of brought a lot of excitement as well to Tempe. Um, so, yeah, Tempe's growing. The other aspect is Marina Heights. So you can see behind us the lake here. Then you got the Marina Heights, which that is kind of like where a lot of corporate offices and retail space came in.
yep,
And that was actually part of over a decade ago. State Farm brought a lot of jobs in here. They built two massive offices here that
right.
brought
We have
thousands of
ADP
jobs.
here. We have Deloitte.
So much, but
There is a lot
so
of
much. And State Farm was
growth
one
in
of the
business here.
leading ones here that brought so much and that brought businesses. And what happened is that pumped a lot more money into Tempe. And now you have a growing sector of young professionals coming in here.
Right.
So again, part of the allure of just being a college town got to young professionals coming in and wanting to be here because of the jobs, because of the vibe, because of everything you can do, the activity, the
Right.
restaurants, the bars. It has it all if you're into that
And the
scene.
close proximity to the freeway.
Oh, you're
Y-
close.
You have two freeways here. You can hop right on, and then
You're
you're
everywhere.
going right to Phoenix. You can go to the west side. You can go to the east side. You can go north. You can go south. So
You can
this is
go
like a this
prime.
really Tempe really is almost the hub outside of Phoenix.
Yeah, it's the central. I will always tell people it's the most central part of Phoenix as a whole because it is like your central hub.
Right.
You can get anywhere across the valley, fairly quickly because you are literally right in the middle. If you want to go East Valley, if you want to go West Valley, if you want to go
Right.
north, you are so close. So the proximity there is another factor that people come
100%.
here. So,
So what do you think that we should show them next?
well, I think the next part is it's got to be Mill Avenue, right?
All right.
You can't talk about Tempe without Mill Avenue.
Let's go to Mill.
Let's go to Mill. All right, so when you're in Tempe, you have to come to one of the most well-known bars actually in Tempe, which is Four Peaks. So
Yeah.
we gotta make a stop real quick on our way to show you,
know,
guys everything.
You got to quench the thirst every once in a while.
You gotta, it's not like drinking on the job. So anyway,
All right, so quick pit stops. You guys can check out Four Peaks, and then now we can go on to the next spot.
yeah.
All right, we're just about to walk on Mill, and right here we're at Pedal House, and you can see they have a really cool area inside here, and they have a really sweet outdoor area here. I'm gonna go find Kyle, and we're gonna actually hit the strip so you guys can see everything that's on Mill. It's a really sweet spot.
Okay, so here we are on Mill, and we are in this area with pedal houses, but this whole area is kind of got a cool vibe too because we're gonna show you Mill in a second. But I'm gonna just do a little turn around. You got the AMC theaters right there. You got the pedal house right there. But this little area kind of has a cool little vibe and kind of built up in terms of kind of making it just kind of family friendly. Now, what I do want to talk about real quick is if you can see behind me, see those condos, apartments right there? Those are West 6th apartments, okay?
That was your dream spot.
That was my dream spot. So they actually got started being built in 2007, 2008, sometime around there. And they actually suffered from the market crash that we saw then. And they were like, the bones were built, but they weren't finished. So that bones kind of were there for like almost 5 years before some other investor came in, took it over and finished it. But and me living around here, I lived in the neighborhood out that way. So I always just look at these every day and just think one day, one day. Well, I never lived there. Now I don't have a desire to, but it's cool because those were the first high rises here in Mill. And now, because this whole area is landlocked and we've seen so much growth, now we're seeing more and more high rises. We're seeing apartments, we're seeing condos. We're seeing a lot of that being built, which again, adds to just the overall growth and appeal that Tempe has. So whether you want to buy an older home in a neighborhood or live in a trendy high rise, well, that's what you got. So anyway, we're gonna show you a little bit more on actual Mill Avenue. And
Let's go.
oh,
So now we're officially on Mill. This is the beating heart of college town and young professionals. It definitely is a party area. It attracts
oh
a
yeah,
younger crowd. But during the lunchtime like this, you're going to see a lot of young professionals, and they've done a very good job to build this up to even attract people of all demographics and all ages. And it's just
absolutely.
a really sweet spot. So down back that way, it's a little further. There's this place called Raw Sushi, and that was the date spot for my wife and I. Like, we loved going to Raw. We saved up like usually a month at a time to go and have our date night there. And it's just crazy to think back at those times where like that was like the highlight of our month to go to Raw on Mill and have our date night there. And unfortunately, there was probably too many nights of being
Yeah,
sick,
absolutely.
bent over some of these bars right here.
Absolutely. And
Uh,
Raw was, I mean, they were known for back in the day of having those sake bombers for like during happy hour. They were like
yeah.
$4 or $5. And I remember you
Yep.
just go there. That was the spot. There was also Mill Q Club. They were absolutely known for having Long Island iced teas on happy hour. So again, when you're young, you're hurting the party, you start there for $3 or $4. You got no money, and then you load up, and then before you know it, you're pretty gone. Because I can tell you, there's plenty of spots around here that I've probably left some left my marking, if you know what I mean. Um, yeah, that's Mill, and what's cool about Mill too is they've been like it kind of fits everything. But young professionals, like Ryan said, but they've actually recently built a senior living high rise kind of on this corner on Mill and 7th, along with Mill and University. And that brought in kind of a retired age community who kind of want that active, vibey, fun lifestyles, right? And I won't go into detail, but there was actually some problems when they were complaining about a bar right by it who was playing music till like 1 or 2 in the morning. It's like, you can't come here and not expect to have some kind of party, fun lifestyle. So anyway, that's Mill. I
But
think
hey, before our old school rowdiness gets out of us, we should probably head to the neighborhoods
yeah,
before we get too rambunctious
now
down
that we're
here.
family men, right? So we're gonna drive through. There's so many neighborhoods. We're gonna just drive through one of my absolute favorite neighborhoods that's close by that I show everyone, and they fall in love with Tempe. So let's go.
All right, Kyle. So where are we at here, man?
Yeah, so we're actually in a neighborhood that's literally like a block or two away from Mill Avenue.
Yep.
And so we're walking distance. And I have a lot of bias towards this area because I actually lived in this neighborhood and this surrounding area within a mile radius for 6 to 8 years. It's somewhere in that range. I've been so long, I can't remember. But I love this area. And in this neighborhood, right, we're going to finish showing you Maple Ash neighborhood. Right now, we're kind of in the Mitchell Park area. And again, you're going to have a mixture of the demographic, a lot of young families. You're going to have some older people as well, because people who've been here for a while who just haven't, moved, they love this area as well, right? And they've learned that it's not that crazy, even though we're so close to Mill.
And you have a lot of students that live here, a lot of parents buy properties here.
You're going to have that for sure. You're going to have a lot of rentals. You're going to have a lot of investors coming in.
It's a mix of everything.
It's a mix. And again, someone like me who knows this area really well can help point you with the area where if you want to be a little less from, the rentals as much, because if you don't want to be around some of the college kids, right, they can party, right? So that's the number one issue a lot of people have is like, well, I don't want to be next to all the party kids. And I totally get that. So this is kind of your typical.
But with mentioning that, it is knowing the area. So if you have questions about living in Tempe, you can always email us, call us, text us anytime. We're always available. Information is below, and we'll help you determine if Tempe's even the right place for you. And if you like Tempe, which part of Tempe? And so now more back into this area, like you said, it is very diverse. You have
very diverse
people from all different walks of life. And price points. What are we seeing in price points here?
So the price point in this area is going to definitely run you a little higher than probably people will want, especially because all the houses are they're older. They're going to be smaller for the most part. You're not getting huge lots. A lot of them are 3-2s. You get 4 bedrooms. But usually we're in that 12 to 16, 1,800 square feet is kind of the average. But you're probably looking, honestly, around that 400,000 to 600,000 average, which is a little pricey, right? But it's pricey because, well, there's just not a lot of people flocking out of here, right? And there's a lot of people trying to get in.
Well, the proximity
is everything here.
To, like we said, downtown Mill, and then the university. That's really what you're paying for here is proximity.
Absolutely.
You're not going to get a very big house here. It's not going to be new. It's probably going to need some work. But the reason why people buy these, whether they live in it or it's an investment, is it's an investment. Like a lot of these properties have gone up tenfold. Absolutely. Maybe more.
And it's a property that we tell people, like, if this is somewhere, like, especially if you're going to buy, you have a young family, they want that vibe, they want this kind of proximity, they just want this lifestyle. Great. Now, the goal would be then to keep that property because you will always have a renter. You will always have someone wanting to move down here. I mean, it's a good investment long term because when you're so close to the campus, obviously you'll always have rentals. Um, but if someone's like, well, I don't want college kids renting my house, great. You're going to have young professionals. You're going to have people who are starting their journey rent as well. And the proximity, I'm telling you,
And
proximity is everything in this
the
place.
cool thing here is, even though it's close to the university here, or maybe because it is, it's relatively safe. As you see, there's people out biking, walking. There's a
Hmm.
lot of people out, which means there's a lot of eyeballs on things. So people are less likely to do things they shouldn't, other than there's a lot of kegers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really, I remember dealing with people who didn't live here and back in the day, be like, oh, it's so, it's not safe. I'm like, it actually isn't that bad. I mean, this is anywhere you go where there's more people or it's public, you're going to deal with things. But I never had as many issues as some people, like they thought you have to carry a gun and you have to fight off everyone. I'm like, no, it's not.
I've never had a single issue other than you just don't leave anything out, because there is some homeless that are around, and if they need some money and they see a bike laying
Yeah,
out, they're going to take a bike.
yeah.
But in terms of
But they generally stay
confrontation,
closer to mill.
they do.
They don't come deep in the neighborhoods for the
I,
most part.
being out here for years, I don't think I could think of any confrontation that I had.
No, it's a like I said, it's a great area, and
It's a good area.
I think people love it.
Brings back a lot of memories.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's head on to the next spot.
Yeah, which is going to be my favorite neighborhood
Where are we going?
of all time.
Where are we
guess
going?
that's it.
It's
We're gonna get out of the car.
All right,
We're gonna get out of the car.
we're getting out of the car. All right, you got to stay tuned. We're heading that neighborhood next.
Let's go. Okay, so we've made it at one of my absolute favorite neighborhoods in all of Phoenix. Maple Ash. Okay, now again, I'm biased because I lived in this area for so long. I've got friends who still live in this neighborhood, and I still hang out with them. I still see them. But this Maple Ash neighborhood is actually an historic neighborhood. A good buddy of mine actually has a house I can't get to because they're working down there, but it's actually considered an historic house. He actually has a plaque, and he's actually like, he's got his name on this in the city of Tempe talking about that house. It's pretty cool. So what's awesome about Maple Ash is that you're gonna have trees lined up. You have mature trees. You're gonna have older homes. They're all a little bit different. They're not cookie cutters.
See, I was just saying that. This reminds me of a San Diego
Yeah.
neighborhood. It's very eclectic houses. Everything's different. You have a lot of greenery, a lot of trees, and I don't know, it has a lot of charm. It's been a while since I've been down here, and I hope they never change it. I love that it's just the way that it is.
Yeah, and it's actually, like I said, it's an historic neighborhood, so it's going to be protected. You have a lot of college professors living here. You have a lot of established people living here. It's not just full of renters, right? It's not just full of like college kids. And again, we are literally not even a couple blocks away from Mill Avenue. And if you go back that direction, there's a neighborhood bar called Casey Moore's. Now, that was like a second home to me back in the day. And we'll drive by it and show it to you. But that bar is like a neighborhood bar. It's kind of like the Cheers of the neighborhood. And that is where you're gonna find all walks of life at that bar. You're gonna have teachers, you're gonna have students, you're gonna have young professionals, you're gonna have retired people. They're just enjoying a beer and enjoying what this whole neighborhood has to offer. And yeah, again, we wanna finish here because this is the place. This is one last thing I will say. I can't tell you how many people told me they hated Tempe until I showed them this neighborhood and they started hanging out with me and they saw this area a lot more. And they tell me how much they love Tempe and how much character it has. And I think that sums up our video. What do you think, Ryan? Just to like sum it up, like Tempe has so much more character than just being a college town, right?
Yeah, you caught me because
So
I was just looking
Just
around
looking.
and taking it in, like.
And especially, I mean, right now it's wintertime. If you come in like the springtime and fall time when these trees are
Oh,
just
yeah.
full, it's lined up, you got shade. It's such a walkable area, even in the summertime because of the shade. But
Right.
anyway,
Yeah, so that is kind of Tempe in a nutshell. It's amazing. And Tempe, there's a lot more on the south part of Tempe that we couldn't even get to today. And that's going to be something reserved for another video. So make sure
Absolutely.
you subscribe if you want to learn more about South Tempe and other parts of the valley. In
Yeah.
Phoenix, I mean, we're hitting everything. And if you have any questions about buying, selling, relocating here, that's what we do.
Call us, talk to
We'll
us.
make sure that we align you with the right place that matches you, your desires, your family. What are you looking for? What is your budget? Just call us, text us, email us, whatever works best for you. We're always available.
Always.
And if you enjoyed this video, I think you're going to enjoy the one over his face next.
Where?